はい。Good evening。
こんばんは。
皆さんこんばんは。ベネット・クロダショー始まりました。
The Bennett-Kuroda Show. Daisuke Kuroda, Sam Bennett. We're here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Tokyo time for you.
はい、毎週8時からベネット・クロダショー、サムさんと一緒にやっております。今日はその13回目ですね。
Yes, that's right. 13. Lucky 13. Ah,
ラッキ
lucky,
ーナ
lucky,
ンバーの
lucky.
13回目です。皆さんこんばん
Yeah,
は。
konbanwa.
ベネットクロダクションはね、毎回のんびりやってますんで、皆さんコメントいただければ我々リアクションしたいと思っておりますし、ぜひお酒を飲みながらね、のんびりやりましょ
Oh, Asahi Dry.
う。スーパードライ。
Super dry. Well,
あ、
not,
T ひろし
got
さ
some
ん。
got some white wine. Oh, T and Hiroshi are here. All right. They say yes. Yes, yes.
サム
Cheers.
さんは何それホワイトワイン。
Yeah, some
白ワイ
white
ン。
wine. Some white wine. Shito wine, as we say in
じ
Japan.
ゃあ、
Hey,
皆さん、
cheers.
乾杯。チェー
Boy.
はーい。
So T and Hiroshi are here. Now, Daisuke, you know what we got
Hi,
planned for tonight? We've got planned
そうです。
the first installation of the online edition of Tokyo Song Celebration.
はい。今日はですね、東京ソングセレブレーションオンラインということで、第1回目の、イベントでございますね。これは毎月第2火曜日にやろうと思っております。そもそも東京ソングセレブレーションってサムさん何でしたっけ？我々やってたの。
Let's see. Well, we started it in March, didn't we, of last year? March of 2000. Well, not last year, 2019.
Yeah, it's not last year anymore.
It's not last year anymore. Yeah, yeah.
2019年からやってたのかな。そして3月からスタートしたっていうふうにサムさんは記憶してますが、そうだったかもしれないね。
Yeah, yeah. We started in March of 2019, and I think our first guest that night was Jean-Paul Richard from France. Guitar.
ああ、そうか。
Yeah, yeah. And Bruce was there singing songs. Yeah, yeah. That was a good night. That was the very first one at Fuglen in Asakusa, Tokyo.
はい。浅草フーグレンでやってた、そのカフェでやってた無料のね、イベントで、第1回目のそのゲストはジャンポールさんっていうね、フランスのギターの方、フランス人のギターの方とブルースさんっていう、ブルースさんはアメリカですか？
そうですね。He's American, yeah.
アメリカ。ブルースっぽい、ブルースだけにブルースっぽい、
ブルース、
ライブ、ね。
Yeah, that's pretty funny. In Japanese, Bruce and
懐かし
blues
い。
sound the same.
そう。ブルースとブルースはね、ジャパニーズはどっちともブルースなの。
そう、ブルース。Crazy.
そう。
So yeah, and then we did it every month for, a little longer than a year. Just about, well, it was about exactly a year, wasn't it? I think.
そうね、多分、
It was exactly
exactly かな。
Yeah.
多分、2020の February が our last show かな、maybe.
That was the last one.
So,
yeah,
we did
with
Claire. Claire さんとやりました。そうそう。
So yeah, well, it was...
はいはい。
Oh, what do you got here? What do you got?
コメント
Paul
いた
Morris.
だきまして。はい。Hi, folks. なんていう？
Scrumpy cider for me. Scrumpy cider. That's some kind of English thing, man. I don't know. I know what cider is. Scrumpy cider. Paul Morris is going to have to. He's going to have to tell us what is that a brand name maybe or is it a kind of cider? I'm not sure. Scrumpy.
サイダーはわかるけど、スクランピーってなんだろうね。
Yeah. I don't know. He'll have to
Tell
let us
me
know.
what that is, please.
Scrumpy,
And
Scrumpy.
Lex.
Good old
また
Lex.
ピースマーク。ピースマーク、絵文字。ピース絵文字です。
Peace to you, Lex. Always. So yeah, we were doing the Tokyo Song Celebration once a month every year, and then Corona stopped it. Actually, Fuglen was one of the first venues in Tokyo to decide to stop doing live events. They decided it in March, which was before pretty much anybody, I think. Maybe Cheshme.
Also
stopped. I think they stopped in March too, because they could sort of look into the future and see what was going to happen, So that was disappointing, but it was, that was their decision, and it was probably a good one to stop doing
Right
it.
choice.
Yeah.
そうね。
So,
その
yeah.
浅草フーグレンでやってたイベントはその2月が最後だったんで、3月の日程も組んでたんだけど、確かもうフーグレンでは、コロナがここからやばくなるだろうということで、もうイベントをそこから完全にキャンセルしまして、かなり早い段階でそういう判断をねしたお店だったんだけども、チェシュメっていうね、チェシュメ TV っていうケリーさんとめぐみさんがやってますが、チェシュメもそれぐらいのタイミングでお店もう閉めますよっていうイベントやりませんよっていう判断をしてオンラインになりました。はい。ポール・モリスさん、8%。
Alcohol, 8%.
proper natural stuff, but strong. なるほど。じゃあ、なるほど。なんか、お酒のブランドネームかな
かな、Yeah, we still don't know, Paul. Is that a brand name, Scrumpy, or is that a type of cider? I guess it just means a type because it says proper natural stuff, but strong. I expect that means it's a type of cider, not a brand, but it could be a brand. We still have to find out.
そうだね。
Well, anyway, Paul, cheers. Scrumpy cider.
乾杯。
Asahi Dry.
Scrumpy cider.
White wine.
はい、乾杯。
Yeah. So, tonight, our guest for Tokyo Song Celebration, because we always had a guest at the event.
そうなんですよ。毎月、ゲストが入ってやってましたんで、今回もゲストがいますよね。スペシャルゲスト第1回目。
That's right. We're doing the same thing as we did. And by the way, Paul Morris said yes, a type. That is a type.
タイプか。なるほど。
cider.
スクランピーサイダーっていう。
Scrumpy. I like the sound of that.
ジャンルっていうかそういうタイプなんだね。なるほどなるほど。
Now we know. You learn something doing this show. I mean, you never know what you'll learn. And I don't think I'll ever forget the word scrumpy.
スクランピーポールさんはイギリスでしたっけ
？Yeah,
だから
he's English.
だからアメリカにもないよね、そのスクランピーっていうのは。
Yeah, I never heard the term. I mean, cider is not so big in America, although with the increasing awareness of beer and ale in general over the last 20 years or so, I would imagine there's a lot of cider drinkers in America now, you know. Sure, but certainly when I lived there, when I was, growing up and stuff, never heard about cider. It was all beer and wine and whiskey.
あれなんかさ、我々横浜でさ最初にやったライブがさ、そのアップルサイダーかなんかをすごくこう、なんつうの力入れてたよね。
Yeah. That gig we played in Yokohama, that was a kind of craft beer place. And and we also played at some kind of festival there, and that was cider. Yeah, they were selling cider there, and it's it's made from apples. It's like apple cider and pretty strong stuff. Yeah.
So this is Scrumpy is the type of
yeah
cider.
Yeah.
なるほど。
Yeah, believe so.
なるほど。
So anyway, tonight's guest is Tea. Now
Tea さんです。
Tea-san, tea. That is the as in the beverage, as in the drink. Tea.
お茶のティー。
お茶の tea.
はい。
That's right. So Tea is our special guest tonight, and we interviewed her along with her musical partner, Tokieda Hiroshi-san. Hiroshi.
はい。
Yeah, and it was a very nice interview. We cut it down to we had a nice long chat. We can't show it all to you, but we cut it down a little bit and edited a little bit here and there, and we're going to run it tonight in two different segments. Isn't that right, Daisuke?
はい。先日ですね、T さんとその、パートナーのね、ベーシストのヒロシさん、アレンジとかやってるんですが、その2人と我々インタビューをしまして、それを収録しております。で今日はそれをね当日はね1時間ぐらい我々、インタビューやってたんですが、1時間のビデオを丸まんまちょっと流すのはちょっと 大変なので、サムさんがね、ビデオをね、ちょっと編集してくれまして、前編後編という形で2本の動画を今夜は流していきたいと思います。
はい。Yeah, so, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and run that, Daisuke? Wanna run it?
はい、了解しました。じゃあ、T さんとインタビュー、ね、ひろしさんのインタビューのビデオをご覧いただきたいと思います。
こんばんは。
T さん、ひろしさん。
ひろし。
Good evening.
Tokieda Hiroshi-san and T are our special guests tonight for Tokyo Song Celebration.
はい、東京ソングセレブレーション第1回目のゲストで T さんとひろしさんに来ていただきました。
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
お茶のteaです。
お茶のtea.
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes it clear.
Yeah, of course.
そうだね。
Of course. We want to be clear.
Yeah.
Always want to be clear. Okay, so we were going to, ask you two some questions about your new record, T, and a little bit about your whole musical life
Yep.
in prior times as well as here in Tokyo in the present. So, yeah, I was wondering, for one thing, we know you come from India.
Yes.
Born and raised, right, in India.
Yes.
And I guess you probably get asked this a lot, but just wondering, to what extent has Indian music and culture influenced or shaped your own music, if at all, if it has at all?
That's a really hard question to answer because I did grow up in India. I was there until the age of 24. I'm 34 now. So yeah, until 10 years ago, I was in India, didn't move here until 6 years ago now, or 5 years ago. Just started my 6th year. But I went to the States at the age of 24. But until then, I was in India.
I see.
In Pune, to be precise. It's in the west.
Uh-huh.
If you know where Mumbai is, Pune is very close to Mumbai.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that because most of what I know is I know from India, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'm sure it has influenced a whole lot.
なんかひろしさんから見てこう彼女の歌とかのこのセンスの中になんかそういうインドっぽいこうなんか影響、育ってきた環境のなんか影響とかって感じたりします？
いや、これが意外と直接な影響っていう意味では、
はい。
そんなに感じないですね。
あ、そうなんですね。
ただ、
はい。
たまにそのインプロ
はいはいはい。
とかにこう自然にこうインディアンなフレーズを
はいはいはいはい。
することがあって、そういうのはやっぱりそういう影響がないとできないことだから。
そうですよね。
I'm not sure I fully understand what he said, but I think a third person would be able to tell better if I had those influences, because to me, whatever I do is natural, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and also to add to that, I went to a Catholic school in India, which is not it's rare to go, to a Catholic school from the age of 3. I went there. So singing, I started off my day by saying the Our Father prayer, right?
Okay.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy
name. Right.
And then I go home and I listen to all these Hindu worship songs that my mother's been playing. Not that I grew up in a religious family, but yeah, I had that contrast going. So.
Yeah. So that's already a kind of a bit of a multicultural background in that sense. Sure. And so you went to the States when you were 24, you say?
Yes.
And you went straight to Boston, to the Berklee School of Music? Yeah. Oh, beautiful. And how, well, 2 questions. One, why did you decide on Berkeley? And two, how do you feel like your time at Berkeley helped you as a musician or made you grow or changed you in some way, influenced you?
In a big way, I'd say, because Indian traditional music doesn't have harmony.
Right.
And I really wanted to study harmony. So I went to Berkeley. I heard from a friend that Berkeley was a really good school to go to for jazz harmony, more specifically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was very interested.
And so in India, before you went to Berkeley, before you went to America, you were listening to a fair amount of sort of, jazz and you were getting interested in...
Not a whole lot of jazz, actually.
No, not really. No.
And jazz is not a big thing in India.
Yeah, well, it's not really a big thing anywhere.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of Bollywood music going on.
Sure,
India,
yeah.
right? That's the predominant style of music in India. And then we have a lot of pop, top 40 playing everywhere. But jazz is, I would say, about not even 1% of the
Right.
population that consumes jazz. Yeah.
Daisuke, do you want to translate any of that for our Japanese listeners?
そうね、T さんはアメリカのバークリーで音楽の勉強をされたということで、留学されたんですけれども、インドではジャズとかは特にやっぱりポピュラーな音楽ではないので、結構レアなので、あんまり聞いてきたことはなくて、そのバークリーで特にハーモニーの勉強とかをされたみたいです。ひろしさんもバークリーですよね。
そうですね。
Ah.
そこで2人は会ったんですけど、僕たち。
Ah, you met at Berkeley.
Yes.
Oh, there
We're
you go.
roommates.
Oh, sweet.
Very unprofessional roommates, because
you were at Berkeley for how long?
I was there for 3 years. I did the undergrad degree. I finished it in 3 years because I'm very smart.
I know you are. And then you came directly to Tokyo, or did you go back to India for a while?
No, I moved to New York after
New York. Okay.
completed my degree, because you get that 1 year on OPT.
Okay.
That extra year that you get on your student visa.
I see.
think it's,
Great.
Optional practical training is what it is.
And you are allowed to work
You're allowed
as
to
a
work
musician in
within
music
your field.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were in New York for a year.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And so after that, you came to Tokyo.
I went to India for about 6 months after that. And Hiroshi visited for a few months. Or you were there for 6 months too. Yeah. And then, we wanted to be married, so we decided that we'd try living in Japan first.
You came here, and you've been quite successful in terms of hooking up with a major label and everything. You're on Sony now.
Yeah.
Right? Which is that's pretty big. That's pretty big. You really you've done pretty well for yourself here in the new country.
Yeah, we were really excited when it happened. So we released our second CD with Sony Music. So that was our major debut just last year. Oh no, not last year anymore. This is 2021.
Right.
In 2019 in October, we released our second album.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting.
Places ね。
Unknown places.
Unknown places, yes.
Yeah. Well, about the CD, we were very impressed with it, T and Hiroshi. It really sounds great.
Thank you.
You've got great musicians playing, with you, obviously. すごい良かったです。
Really, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We had some of the best musicians. We were very lucky.
Yeah. And I was really impressed with the stylistic variety on the CD. It's really it never gets stale or too samey or anything, like really every
なんか一曲ずつすごくスタイルが変わって曲のね、なんかバラエティ豊かですごく聴いてて楽しくて、で T さんのねこのキャラクターっていうのは常にこうあってさ、すごくいい アレンジですよね。
Yeah, her character, her personality comes through so strong on every track. You know, even though they're all so kind of different stylistically, there's still this core personality at the center, which is Tea and her voice.
さんのインタビューご覧いただきました。
Yeah, that was part one.
はい、パート1です。はい、前半のインタビューをご覧いただきました。なんか T さんがね、そのインド出身で、インド音楽にこうなんかハーモニーね、なんかコード進行みたいなやつなくて、それでこうコードのこと、ハーモニーのことを勉強して持ってバークリーに留学したんだよなんていう話がね出てましたけどね。
Yeah, she wanted to dive deeper into the world of harmony, which you know, doesn't exactly exist in traditional Indian music, does it? It's all sort of melody and rhythm, isn't it?
そうね、インド音楽ってなんだろう、そのまあポップスとかあってさ、そういうのはまあ、多分西洋のね、ダイアトニックコードとか出てきてると思うけど、トラディショナルなインド音楽って基本的にはリズムですよね。
リズムメロディー。
メロディーもさ、半音のさらに半音とか狙ってるでしょ。ハーフなんつうの、クロマティックのevenなんつうの。
Even smaller divisions of the scale.
なんかクロマトーンとかわかんないけど、なんか、ね、
I think generally people use the word microtone or microtone.
マイクロトーンだ。あ、そうだ、マイクロトーンだ。なんか recently、あれ、なんかミュージカルヒストリーで、theoretically、actual なんつうの
notation。
ノーテーション出たよね。quite recently、なんかcouple years ago、そう何年か前にそのマイクロだ。
microtonal。Yeah, microtonal。
マイクロトーナル。
Yeah, micro。
半音、さらに半音の音がね。はい。マイクロトーンズ
Yeah,
T さん。
That's what T says.
半音のさらに半音ですね。
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly sophisticated, you know. I mean, it's so much more sophisticated than the chromatic 12 notes to the octave, you know. I mean, I think in a lot of those Indian scales, and I believe they call them rag or raga.
Raga.
The scale is like a rag. Yeah.
音階もすごく複雑だし、でリズムがまたすごい複雑じゃない。
Oh yeah, crazy.
They've got the crazy rhythmic. インドの音楽はね、そのなんか8分音符を、これすごい音楽のなんか音楽の授業みたいになっちゃうけど、8分音符をタカって言って、でそのっていうか2グループにしてんだよね。リズムのグループを作ってて、英語で言うとこれはサブディビジョンって言うんだけど、サブディバイドのやつね。2のグループをタカって言って、3のグループをタキタって言って、4がタカディミだ。で、5が、タカジョナドンとかそんな感じ。で、6もあんのよ。タディンギナムとかなんか。で、7もあんのよ。タディンギナムみたいな、なんかそのグループがあって、それを組み合わせてそのリズムを作ってんだよね。そのタブラとかさ、ああいうやつ。で、口でも言うよね。タカタキタタッティンタティンタカティミタッティンタティン。
That's right. Yeah, they recite all those rhythms. Yeah, you know, I've heard that you know, people that study tabla, for example, they might go for a few years before they even touch the drum. So they're learning first those syllables and, you know, wow.
そう、これはね、コノコルって言います。コノコ。そう、これタカとかタキタとかっていうやつ。なんかインドの音楽はこのまず この口でコノコルっていうんですけど、タキタとかタカっていうやつ、まず実際に楽器を触る前にコノコルを勉強してからじゃないとその楽器に触ってもらえないらしいんだよね。だからすごい子供のちっちゃい時からもうみんなこのタカディミやってますよ。
Incredible discipline, and I mean, it's just so complex. The rhythmic structures are so complex, and the body of knowledge that you need to be a great tabla player, for example, pretty much requires you to start as a child. You know.
そうね。
I mean, basically.
It's kind of like
kind of like becoming a master violinist. You know, I mean, you kind of need to start pretty young. You know, you don't pick it up when you're like 35 or something. You know, it's just too late, right? So yeah, you know, as a percussionist, as a drummer and percussionist, I always loved the sound of tablas, of tabla, and also the sound of some of the other drums. I think there's like a mridangam, it's called. It's kind of sounds a little bit similar to the tabla, but it's one drum that you play like this way. Boom, tiki, boom, tiki.
Hi.
Yeah. And I used to actually have one of those mridangams, and you know, I could play it in my own way, but I already knew. Even when I was in my 20s, you know, I was like, it's too late for me to start this, you know. Sure, I could start and learn a few things and maybe get good at it, but I was like, no, I'm not going to go there because it's just too much, man. Yeah, it's just too much,
man. いやなんかもうちっちゃい時からもうバイオリンの英才教育を受けてるような感じなんですよね。このインドのリズムのなんていうかアイディアっていうのはね。だから急に、インド音楽でタブラやりたいって言ってもね、やっぱりなかなか難しいということで、サムさんもそのタブラに似たなんかもうちょい大きいインドの楽器をつぼみみたいなやつなんかが、多分ねドゥンドゥンってやるやつでしょ、持ってたんだけど、なんかサムさんなりのやり方叩き方はできてもやっぱりインド音楽のなんていうのインドのリズムのねそういうのはやっぱ難しくて挑戦したけどもう8手ぐらいの時に挑戦したけど諦めましたって言ってました。
Yeah, it's just a little too deep, you know. Incredible stuff. You know, I saw the other day a great documentary on the Monterey Pop Festival of 1968, I believe it was, or it might have been 69. The Monterey Pop Festival in California was really the first real rock festival. It was before Woodstock and before well, it was really the first. And it was the festival that introduced America really to so many incredible artists, like for example Jimi Hendrix. I mean, when Hendrix played at Monterey, he was just getting started, and many people did not know who he was. And and the Who, you know, played, and all these legendary, you know, rock bands. But what made me think of this is that Ravi Shankar, the Indian sitar player, Ravi Shankar, he performed with his tabla player, and I guess is it the veena that just makes the drone that just kind of goes. I don't know if that's veena or maybe it has another name, but anyway, it was that kind of band, a small group. Ravi Shankar is just totally.
So they actually played Indian music.
They played straight up Indian music at the Monterey Pop Festival, and
その1968年だか9年のモントルーのポップフェスティバルっていうのが
モントルーじゃなくてモントルーじゃない
Monterey,
that's in California.
Monterey.
Yeah. Not Montreux in Switzerland. Not to be confused.
モントルージャズフェスティバルじゃない。
じゃない。Monterey, California.
モンタレー。
Yeah.
カリフォルニアモンタレー
Yeah.
のポップフェスティバル。
San Francisco. Yes.
ポップフェスティバルの映像を、サムさんが最近見たそうで、その中でインドのそのバンドがね、シタールとか、やってるの出てましたよっていうことで、そのライブ自体は、地味編とかでしたけど、有名になる前のタイミングで地味編がこう演奏してたみたいですね。なんかlot of even the Beatles, like they went to the totally Indian music at one point.
Oh
right?
yeah. Especially George. George Harrison totally got into Indian music, and he brought Ravi Shankar into the sort of circle of the Beatles and helped him become even more famous and stuff. And and some of those George Harrison songs on some of the Beatles records, like "Within You" and "Without You," and a couple of others were just using Indian instruments and stuff. So that show at Monterey, it was an incredible reaction of the audience. I mean, it was a young hippie audience. Everybody was pretty stoned. I mean, like really stoned. And they got a fantastic reception. I mean, the people went wild. Because I just saw it the other day, and as soon as they, and the people just thousands of people just leapt up to their feet and just like, so it just goes to show that, like, I mean, something like Indian music, which is so different from what those kids had heard before, but it could grab them because it's so strong and it was so good.
そうね。
So, yeah.
いや、聞いたことない人はぜひインド音楽聴いてみてほしいですね。例えばね、そのビートルズもインド音楽にこう没頭したとかね、こうハマった時期がね、ビートルズもありまして、結構そのインドの楽器をね、レコーディングとかで使ったりするんだけど、例えばさ、ジェフ・ベックもね、ナディアっていう曲があるんですけども、それはジェフ・ベックカバーして、で、スライド使ってさ、あとはこのワーミーバー、使って、そのインドのそのマイクロトーンを
There you go. He was going for that microtonal sound. Yeah.
そう、すごいI know both the original Nadia and his version of Nadia. Is that they're pretty close. なんかすごいamazing なんていうの、コピーっていうかカバー by Jeff Beck ね。
Well, Jeff Beck.
なんか
so great.
リズムはなんかもっとわかりやすくさ、なんかドゥンドゥンダンドゥンダンダンダンドゥンダン感じなんだけど、なんか they put a little なんか electric tabla のアイディアね on it。
Cool.
ぜひ聞いてみてください。ジェフ・ベックのナディアすごくいいですよ。
I'd like to hear that.
めちゃくちゃいいです。はい。
So yeah, Indian music, and but Tea, getting back to Tea herself, she was not all that interested in going into Indian traditional music, and no particular reason why she should be, just because you happen to be born in India. She was more into music with harmony and chords, and she was drawn to I guess you could say more Western kind of music.
そうだね。ウエスタンミュージック。
Yeah.
そうだね。
And so yeah, she went to the source, went to America, studied at Berkeley, and apparently that's where she met her partner Hiroshi. That's so cool.
そうですね。
Yeah.
ね。T さんはそのインタビューの中でも言ってたんですけども、結構インドの音楽はなんかあんま聞いてなかったっていうみたいで、なんかそんなに影響を受けてないらしいですね。でもなんかヒロシさんにじゃあヒロシさんから見てそういうインドっぽい影響って出てたりすんのっていう風に質問したら、なんかこう外でなんか歌う時とかってなんかちょっとそのインドっぽい雰囲気がたまに出たりするよなんて言ってたし、T さんは特にやっぱりこうね、インドのトラディショナルな音楽よりもこの西洋のさハーモニーの世界ですよね、ウエスタンミュージックですよねに興味があって、それでバークリーに留学したみたいですね。も もうバークリーが作ったようなもんだからね、このコード進行っていう、まあバークリーが実際作ったんだけど、そのコードとかね、とか A マイナーみたいなああいうこうシンボルつけてね、あれはバークリーが開発、バークリーのアイディアで、それが世界中に広まったんで、結局そのルーツのね部分ちゃんとそこに留学して、ひろしさんとやったという話でございましたね。なんかさんもあれでしょ、バークリーの近くにことあるんでしょ、ボストン。
That's right. Yeah, I lived in Boston for about 8 years actually.
8 years. That's pretty long.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah, I was there for 8 years from 1977 until about 1983 or so. 77, 89, 81, yeah. And I liked Boston. It was a good town. Too cold. Just too damn cold. Nah, I just can't take that. Man. It just, you know, I moved from Alabama, where it just, you know, it just didn't get that cold, and it didn't snow. Hardly ever snowed in Alabama. I remember when I first moved to Boston in 1977, and they had the biggest snowstorm in like 100 years or something. It was crazy. and I thought, I mean, I got there and they had this enormous snowstorm, and I thought, well, this must be the way it always is up here, you know. But it was really crazy. But yeah, Boston's a good town, you know. It was okay. I got a little tired of it after a while, because ultimately, it's kind of a small town in a way, even though it seems like a big city, but it's a little more like a small town, to tell you the truth. And when I moved to New York, I felt like I finally arrived somewhere where I kind of belonged, you know. But still, Boston was a good place to live. Yeah, and I'm sure it's great for music students, you know. I mean, I didn't go to music school, but when I moved to Boston, I played in so many, you know, so many shows, so many gigs. It was that my education was just playing with people, really. And
maybe the players are from Berkeley.
Yeah,
guess, right?
most of the people I played with were actually from a different school. They were young musicians who were mostly going to the New England Conservatory.
へえ、もう一個大学みたいなのあったんだね、ボストンには。
Yeah, it's the other music school in Boston. It's called the New England Conservatory. And, you know, normally a conservatory is a place where you study classical music. And there's a lot of classical music, you know, students there. But they had a very, very good, you know, jazz department, apparently. And all the guys and some of the, well, there were not just guys, there were women too, that I was playing with in those days. Most of them were going to the jazz studies departments at the New England Conservatory, and it was very creative kind of school. It was a pretty different vibe than Berkeley. I mean, Berkeley already had what they kind of called the Berkeley method, you know, and it was almost like, I don't mean any disrespect by saying it, but it was more like a factory than, you know, it was more like, okay, this is the Berkeley method. We'll get it. Of course, individual teachers, I'm sure, had their different ways of teaching, but a place like the conservatory was, I think, a lot more free, and they had people like Jackie Byard, the great jazz pianist, teaching there, and Rand Blake, and some really interesting, you know, musicians. So it was a very different vibe.
Lydian Chromatic とか?
Yeah, George Russell was there. The famous George Russell with his Lydian chromatic concept. Yeah, he was there. So I even sort of crashed a few classes at that school. I didn't go to the school, but every now and then I just went and just kind of sat in on some classes.
Sneak in,
yeah, because it was pretty loose, man. Especially in those days, it was the 70s, you know? Yeah, things were just more loose, you know?
Right.
Security wasn't such a big issue. I mean, you can't just walk into a university now. You got to show your ID, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
But it used to be a little looser, for sure. Yeah.
へえ、なるほど。サムさんはそのバークリーの方じゃなくて、もう一個ね、学校があって、そこがそのジャズのなんていうか、ジャズ科みたいなやつがあって、そこによくね、全然生徒じゃないのに出入りしたりとか、ボストンでライブとかやってた時は、そこの生徒さん元出身とかね、そういう人たちと結構ライブとかやってたみたいです。なんかね、そっちの方がなんだろう、バークリーメソッドっていうバークリーのやり方とは違って、もっと、なんていうかフリーな、教え方というかね、そういうスタイルだったみたいなんで、そっちのミュージシャンと絡んでる方が楽しかったみたいですね。
Exactly. Yeah, that was a long time ago, I tell you.
そうね、だって77年から78年、83年、83年って、I was born.
Ah, that's when you were born. Oh my God. You youngster. Yeah, in the year 83, that's when I moved to Brussels, Belgium for a little while. Yeah, I lived over in Europe for a little while, and then I moved back and came to New York. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, T had mentioned that she also spent some time in New York City. I think she was around Queens and New Jersey, and for about a year, I guess.
そうですね、言ってましたね。卒業して、なんか本当は4年なんだけど3年でもう卒業して、単位ちゃんと取ってね、で卒業後にそのビザが、バークリーは出してくれますから、そのミュージシャンとして、1年間働いていいですよっていう、それでニューヨークに住んで、ニューヨークで活動してたみたいですね。日本に帰ってくる前ね。日本に帰ってくる前って言わないね。日本に来る前ね。
来る前ね。Yeah, and she mentioned that she lived in Queens for a while, and I forgot to ask her, or I think I was going to ask her, but then we went somewhere else with the discussion. But I think I forgot to ask her. Well, I know I forgot to ask her about Indian restaurants, because Queens was the best Indian restaurants were in Queens. Oh yeah. Back when I was living in New York, from 84 to 95, the best Indian restaurants were in Queens because there was a whole Indian community living, in Queens. Yeah.
なるほど。
And there was an area called Jackson Heights, and a lot of, the best Indian restaurants were there. And they're not fancy places. They're not fancy places or anything. They were just like good family style restaurants, and you'd actually see, Indian people eating in them, which is,
なるほど。
not like some of the other ones.
そしたらもうすごいコンビンシングだね。
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because also in New York, when I lived there along 6th Street in Manhattan, there's a whole block of just nothing but Indian restaurants. I mean, it was just, I don't know.
そういう場所もある。
I don't know if it's still there now, but it's
in that time,
6th Street. In that time. So it was just, there must have been like about 20 or 30 Indian restaurants on that block. It was incredible. They were all small, and those places, they could be okay and everything, but basically for better Indian food, you had to go to Queens,
なるほど。T さんからコメントいただきまして。
Oh, she says she was in Brooklyn the longest, and she lived near Jackson Heights when she was in Queens. Now I want to know, T, did you ever go to the Indian restaurants in Jackson Heights? you got to say yes,
T さんがね、T さんとのインタビューの間で、クイーンズに住んでた時期もあったんですよっていうのがちらっと出てきてまして、で、サムさんがね、そのクイーンズのところには、もうなんかインディアンコミュニティがそこは多く住んでるエリアがあって、インディアンレストランがすごくいっぱいあって、もうすごく美味しいから、ニューヨークにもそういうなんかストリートがあるけど、インディアンストリートみたいなのあるけど、そこよりも人より食べたかったらクイーンズ行くんだよっていう話をね今してました。で、
good old Jackson Heights, man, that was the place to go. Hey, Cheshme TV. Cheshme TV just tuned in. Hi.
ケリーさん、めぐみさん、こんばんは。
Kelly Megumi.
はい。
Cheshme TV is one of our little online anchors here in Tokyo. They're doing shows every Saturday night. I think they're off this month, but I believe they'll be back in February doing shows every Saturday. Yeah, I think they took the month of January off because they've just been working so hard on it for you know since March or April. Yeah, man, that's a lot of work, you know, doing these things every week. And especially a show like theirs.
そうだね。すごい、もうゲストもいっぱいだもんね、毎回ね。
Exactly. That's a big job, man. It's a big job getting everybody set up and ready on Skype or Zoom and making sure it all goes off okay with timing and you know, whoa, oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. チェシメ TV はね、毎週土曜日に、ライブ配信やってるんですけども、どうやら1月はお休みしてるみたいですね。で、多分2月から戻ってくるんじゃないかなということでございます。はい、コメント、チェシメ TV さん、Hello, arriving tonight. 大丈夫です。No problem. Love you guys. Love you guys.
Better late than never. Better late than never. And T says 28th Street. T says 28th Street in Manhattan has some great Indian food too. Now there you go. She says she didn't go to any of the ones in Queens, but she used to get her Indian groceries from Patel Brothers. There you go. And Patel Brothers was in Queens, I guess. Anyway. Yeah. Cheshme says you guys are so sweet. I know. Aren't we sweet, guys? We're just too damn sweet, man. We need to get more
cheers.
Mean. Hey, cheers. You know, we need to get a little more mean and nasty, you know. A little more edgy. Yeah. You're late.
We could.
You came in late.
じゃあ、チェシメさんも、チェシメ TV さん、ケイリーミさんも到着したということで、そろそろパート2どうですか？インタビューのパート2ご覧いただくというのは、ね。
Yeah.
行きましょうか。
Part two. Let's roll part 2. And I believe in part 2 we get into talking about the record a little bit, don't we?
そうですね。ソニーからT さんはメジャーデビューして、セカンドアルバムがね、ソニーから出てるんですけども、Unknown Places というアルバムで Apple Music とか、どこでも聴けるんですが、その楽曲ね、Unknown Places についてインタビューしております。はい、ではご覧いただきましょう。
That song, Work of Art, one thing that struck me about it, there's a certain part of it that really is really nicely reminiscent of Joni Mitchell in some way for me.
Oh,
yeah, it's not the whole song. I can't remember exactly, but there's some kind of section where the phrasing, your melody, it just kind of hit like, that's the spirit of Joni right there, you know?
That's so interesting because I didn't think that about Work of Art, but I do feel that way about Superboy.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
Because I actually wrote the lyrics to that song with Joni Mitchell in mind.
Of Superboy.
I want to write a song like, Superboy. I want to write a song like
okay.
Joni Mitchell. That's literally how
I
started writing Superboy. But
well,
so
Superboy
like that.
Yeah, Superboy's lyrics are incredibly touching. It's just really like really touching song. And and also the simple piano accompaniment is perfect for it, I thought. It's just, you know, really no more than necessary, you know, to get the message across. That was very cool.
Koichi Sato on the piano there.
Yeah, wonderful piano player.
Yeah,
it was really nice.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of Superboy, we'll talk about some of the other songs, but apparently Superboy, you made a video for that one?
Yes.
Excellent.
ミュージックビデオがこのスーパーボーイという曲で作ったということですね。
Yes.
So, yeah, Superboy, you've made a video for that one.
Yes.
and we're very eager to see it. So let's roll it right now.
Here we go.
Yeah, Superboy's beautiful tune. Just beautiful. Yeah,
that's the one song that we just kind of, I wrote the lyrics and then I said to Hiroshi, just play me something.
Yeah.
Anything. And I'm just going to start singing.
Oh, nice.
And we did it in one go.
Oh.
And there was barely any rewriting. There might have been one little section,
I just,
maybe
you
you
know,
changed.
like fix some chords and stuff, but basic
It was
structure is
just
done.
That's
yes.
great.
I just, the melody wasn't written, the harmony wasn't written. We just started together.
I think that's how a lot of great stuff happens.
スーパーボーイっていうこの今聴いていただいた曲はですね、特に作曲してメロディーをこう準備してあったわけじゃなくて、ひろしさんになんか伴奏とにかく何でもいいからやってっていう風にして、その場で生まれたメロディーとハーモニーで出来上がった曲みたいです。まあちょっと直した場所はコード変えたりとかは少しあったみたいだけど、もうほとんどそのまんまだったらしいですね。
はい。
すごいですね。そんなプロセスあったんですね。
But the rest of it was just like the way I sang it and the way he played it. We
すごい。
Yeah. That's the that's you know you've got something when it works that well and it just clicks, you know.
Right.
So that brings me to another question. To what extent are these songs, maybe it varies all across the record, but generally speaking, to what extent are these songs collaborations in terms of the songwriting? Do you mostly work together on every song to put together the chords and the melodies and the words and the everything?
We did for Unknown Places. In our first album, Interstellar, I think there might be one song that I wrote individually, but yeah, we try to keep it so that every song is co-written.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think
it's a real collaboration.
Two of these songs, even from Unknown Places, I think Work of Art was a co-write that we did with a third person.
Oh, okay.
So, Ryan Carter. I don't think he's in Tokyo anymore. He just left.
I think he left, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a guitar player.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I mostly write the lyrics and the melody and help out with the harmony a little bit. But arrangement is entirely Hiroshi's.
I see. Okay. That's great to know. Well, Hiroshi-san is a very, very talented arranger because the arrangements, no, seriously, the arrangements really shine. They just
アレンジ
totally
めっちゃ
shine.
いいですね。もちろんメロディーもすごく素敵なんですけど、やっぱりそれをこう引き立てるアレンジがね、で
まあ、
なんか
やっぱりそのアレンジするとき、いつも歌詞を usually when we write together, she writes lyrics first, and I try to come up with groove or chords or instrument that goes with her lyrics.
Yeah, nice.
That's how we work.
ちょっと面白いなと思ったのはシャンプーなんですけど、
日本語の
そうですね。
歌詞ね全部日本語で歌ってらっしゃるということで結構珍しいですよね。
そうですね。
で上手ですね、すごく日本語。
Really?
日本語の歌すごく合ってると思いました。
I was really worried. I sounded like a gaijin singing a Japanese song.
Still a little bit, of course, but I felt pretty good listen to your Japanese singing. I didn't feel likeなんか too much gaijin thing or
or wannabe Japanese.
It was really good. すごいalso nice match your voice and your pronunciation when sing Japanese と思う I think.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Now, another tune from the record that was very impressive was that you could take an American standard like Amazing Grace that's been sung hundreds, if not thousands of times by different people and still do something pretty different with it. That was really very cool. And I mean, your voice is just absolutely lovely, but that's just a given because you just have a great voice. But aside from just your wonderful performance of the song, that arrangement is also just fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, that's Hiroshi's, huh? I thought it was so brilliant to have the piano just, when the piano does come in, just to sit there on that one, I don't even know if it's a chord, it might be just two notes, I'm not sure, or maybe it's
like a, root and fifth.
It's just two notes, right? It's just a root and the fifth, all the way through the whole song. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And also the way that it sat against the phrasing. It wasn't just marking the melody in the way that you would think it would if you're just playing rhythm, It was like a cross rhythm, wasn't it? Very cool, very cool. I was so impressed with that.
途中ですごいオーケストレーションみたいなの起きますよね、あれね。
そうですね。
かっこいいですね。
やっぱりそんなにバジェットがあるわけでもなかったんで、いかにこの少ない楽器でドラマチックに触れるかっていうことがすごい考えて作ったアレンジですね。なるほど。誰も聞いたことないアメージンググレース。ねえ。すごいかっこいいです。
Really good work. Well, so you got your second record out, and you're here in Tokyo. We're all staying at home because of the damn COVID.
Yep.
What do you see for the future for your music?
Yeah. I don't know. Do we have a future music?
Yeah, that's a question. That's a question.
I guess going more virtual, like we are now.
Yeah.
Right.
We're all doing this remotely.
Right.
Maybe collaborations will be more like this. I don't know.
We can always write new songs.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You got the two of you as a live-in composer unit,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're a self-contained sort of songwriting team here.
Yeah.
And it's perfect,
Yeah, I was going to say, because while we're all, moving towards, going more virtual as artists, I think it's important to do original songs.
Yeah.
Because there's always the copyright issue, right?
Sure. So
if you're just a cover artist, I don't think you can really you can sustain.
You always have to worry about, copyright and...
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Best to do original stuff, so you can...
Yeah.
楽しい、初めての第1回目のゲストだったんですけども、盛り上がってよかったです。
First time for us to have a guest interview.
はい。
It was very fun.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
はい。
And cut.
はい。
はい。
ご覧いただきました。
We're back. So yeah, that was very nice to talk to those two. Really interesting to hear about little details about how they made their record and
そうね、Unknown Places っていうデビューのね、アルバムの中の、制作秘話というかね、メイキングの話が聞けて非常に面白かったですね。
Yeah, like I said, we talked for quite a while, about more than an hour, I think, and they did tell us a lot about their musicians who appear on the album, because there's just some fantastic players. The drummer is wonderful. I think he's the only non-Japanese. I think pretty much all the other musicians are Japanese. And that clarinet player, boy, he was just killer, fantastic. And everybody, the piano player, I forget, was his name Sato or I don't remember, but the piano player on Superboy, it was just lovely, really, really nice playing. Yeah.
そうだね。レコーディングに参加してるミュージシャンも本当に素晴らしいミュージシャンで、もうすごいいいアルバムです。はい、インタビューの中でもね、我々大絶賛してましたけど、ね、音もいいしさ、アレンジもかっこいいしさ、すごいいいアルバムですよね。
That's true. There really, really is a lot of variety, and it's really refreshing, you know. So I'd recommend the record to people who like songs and you know, who like to hear a great vocalist, because Tea's just a wonderful singer. Fantastic.
はい。T さんコメントいただきまして、もっと前にちょっと待って、コメントいくつか戻んないといけないね。
Yeah, there's a few. She tells us that the Patel Brothers was in Queens. That's those of you in Queens, go to Patel Brothers for all your Indian grocery needs. She also says, cheers. Yes, Indian food. That was Cheshme TV. And then T says, Cheshme TV, yes, we're eating Indian food now. Hey, surprise, surprise.
いいなインド料理食べたい。
Well, if T can cook half as good as she sings, then she's a good cook. And, you know, and probably Hiroshi's a good cook too, I bet. I bet, you know, maybe Hiroshi's cooking the Indian food. I wonder.
そうかな、ヒロシさん作れるかな？
Yeah, let's ask. Hiroshi-san.
ヒロシさん、インド料理作れますか？
作れますか？
なんか作ってください。I do sometimes なんか make curry もスパイスで。
That's right, and you do it all the way, like from scratch, right? You take this spice and that spice and that spice, and you really make your curry, don't you? Yeah. That's very cool. That's very cool. That's the best way to do it. She says, thank you so much, Sam and Daisuke. You are both lovely and generous with your compliments. Oh, yeah. Behind your back, we say all sorts of nasty things about you. You should hear once the cameras stop. Oh, my God. We're so not nice. We're just horrible, horrible people.
Don't say that.
Well, you know, that's showbiz. Like comedians, they're funny when they're on, and then they get off the air and they're just foul, nasty, mean people. You know, we're like that. We're really like.
冗談ですよ。冗談です。
冗談ですよ。冗談。
はい、冗談ですよ。
冗談。Now, so, go on.
はい、東京ソングセレブレーションということで、今日はね、第2週目の火曜日は、ベネット・クルダショーは、この東京ソングセレブレーションをやります。オンラインでね。で、毎回ゲストが、お越しいただきまして、我々のインタビューと、こういう、ライブ配信とっていうのを混ぜてやっていこうかなと思ってるんですが、次回のゲストは、佐野さん、誰ですか
？Okay, our guest for the next Tokyo Song Celebration, the second Tuesday of February, will be none other than Johnny Barefoot, our own Johnny Barefoot, Johnny-san. So Johnny is a singer and songwriter and plays guitar, banjo, some other stringed instruments, plays a lot of different stringed instruments. And he has just released his new record, I think back in just December or early January. It's very new. And it's called Sunrise in Reverse. Ooh. And or Reverse Sunrise, one of those. Anyway, Johnny will be here. We will be interviewing him, just like we did with T and Hiroshi, about his new record and about his musical background and what he's up to. So hope you'll tune in for that on the second Tuesday of February. Otherwise, me and Daisuke will be here every Tuesday, as always, 8 p.m. with the Bennett-Kuroda Show. So what do you got coming up with T? You've got something coming up with T, don't you, Daisuke? A live show coming?
そうなんですよ。まず、来月の東京ソングセレブレーションは、ゲストはジョニーさんっていう、ジョニー・ベアフットさんっていう、シンガーソングライターの方で、最近アルバムをね、リリースされたので、それについてちょっとインタビューしたいなと思っておりまして、T さんとはですね、ヒロシさんも一緒に、恵比寿のワット・ザ・ディッキンスで、2月の13日に我々ライブをやりますが、今ね、東京は、緊急事態宣言ということで、どうなるかわからないんですけれども、 ね、どうですか緊急事態宣言。
どうかな We don't know. We don't know. Yeah, Daisuke's just mentioning that he has a show coming up in February. I believe it's February 13.
はい、February
Yeah.
13.
He's got a show coming up
Tea.
with Tea coming up at What the Dickens, one of our favorite venues around town. But of course, as he mentions, one never knows at this point if the state of emergency is continuing beyond their current cutoff date of, I believe they're supposed to end the state of emergency on February 7, perhaps. Is that the idea?
Yes.
So the current state of emergency is running until February 7. And after that, coronavirus will go away and there'll be no more coronavirus as of the 7th, and it'll be all over, we hope. But of course, we don't know, what they're going to do. Oh, what's that? I hear a beer being opened. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, we never know what's going to happen. But if it can happen, it will. And that will be February 13 at What the Dickens. And I believe Daisuke will be playing with Hiroshi and Tea. Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. So y'all be sure and try to make that if you can, and if we're back to some sort of reasonably safe possibility to gather in groups and enjoy music and liquor. Yeah.
そうだね。そして、コメントいただいておりますよ。
Hiroshi can only make Japanese curry, but curry is not a thing. Yeah, well, okay, he makes Japanese curry. Well, that makes sense.
なるほど。
Yeah.
まあ、
I like
ヒロシさんは
Japanese
日本スタイルのカレーね。
日本スタイルでしょ Yep, Japanese curry.
美味しいよね。でもね、たまにすごい食べたくなるもん。
美味しいよ。Yeah. I mean, Japanese curry is a different thing. And as long as you're not thinking, oh, this is what is this? This is not Indian curry. I mean, it's just a different thing. Just like Thai curry is a different thing, So,
right.
And so I happen to love a good Japanese curry. It's just so satisfying, man. So satisfying. Yeah.
美味しいよね。
So, yeah.
サムさん家でもカレー作ります？
Oh, yeah. I just made some curry the other day. Keema.
キーマカレー。
Yeah, keema curry. I like to make keema. Yeah. I'll give you my recipe sometime.
ぜひ教えてください。
Oh, yeah, I will.
いや、めっちゃカレーとか食べたくなってきた。
Nah, all this talk about curry, man. I want curry now. I'm not even hungry, but I want curry. Yeah.
ね、タンドリーチキンとかさ。
Tandoori chicken.
ね、もう恵比寿のワッツ・ディッキンスのタンドリーチキンめっちゃ美味しいから。
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, What the Dickens. Speaking of What the Dickens, they have they're famous for those English pies. They're most famous for those big English meat pies. They got a beef one and a chicken one, and they're full of gravy and vegetables and meat, and they're very tasty. But they also have a good, tasty tandoori chicken. Yeah.
はい。ワッツ・ディッキンスは一応そのパイがね、ミートパイがすごく売りでね。
Pub food.
イギリスのそういうバーね、パブねでやってるスタイルのパイがミートパイがすごく売りでね、まあそれももちろん美味しいんですけれども、個人的にはね、タンドリーチキンすごいあそこの好きなんですよね。
Yeah. Now on the food subject, Paul Morris from London just chimed in and said, UK chip shop curry sauce has heritage of India to Hong Kong to United Kingdom, and nothing quite tastes like it. Now, see, that's interesting, Chip shop curry sauce. So the curry sauce would probably go onto your chips, onto your we Americans call them French fries. The English call them chips. So I suppose this kind of curry sauce that they have in England, it came from India via Hong Kong and wound up in England, and it became a thing in chip shops. So there's another variation, I guess, of curry. Yeah.
そのイギリスではそのなんていうの フライドポテトをこうつけるソースがそのカレーソースみたいなのがあるけども、それもイギリスにこう伝わってくるまでにいろいろ変化して独自のものになってるみたいですね。
I bet that's good. I can imagine that's quite good.
絶対美味しいよね。
Paul says, "Oh yes, oh yes." He says, "Oh yes, mouth watering now." He wants his chip sauce, his curry sauce.
ねえ、美味しそうね。いや、もうめっちゃなんか食べたくなってきた。
ね。
ね。
Hey, listen, you know, we should also mention, Daisuke, about T and Hiroshi's website. So if we have that information, people can visit T's website, check out some of the music, see photographs, etc.
Yes, go to down the description area. There's a link for T website. Also, online tip jar.
Online tip jar. You can throw lots and lots of money into our online tip jar, or even a. Here we go. We have an online tip jar. We have an online tip jar. Please put the money in the online tip jar. Hey. All right. Now that's the kind of impromptu musical genius that we've become famous for. Daisuke. Online tip jar song. Yeah, so there's always that as a PayPal tip jar. We appreciate your donations. That always helps a little bit. And yeah, so visit T's website.
はい。ぜひMusic とか Spotify とか、go to her website ね。please check T music. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, she's got a lot of good stuff for you to hear.
はい。
And that brings us to, let's see, Daisuke, don't you have a video for us from your last show with T?
はい、あります。Yes, I prepared for that. We did the gig last Christmas day, December 25th at the Dickens. He and Hiroshi and me and guest percussion player, I think he's a friend of them. It was the first time for me to meet him, but he was great. Anyway, I took a little bit behind me, like behind the guitar, so sound is not, the mix is not good because a lot of guitar. But still, you guys can hear what our acoustic live sound like. So yeah, I gonna play that live video.
Cool.
はい。で、コメントもいくつか、ありますよ。Keith1979 遅くなりました。こんばんは。
こんばんは、
前回も来ていただきまして、はい、ご覧いただきまして、お疲れ様です。Cheers。はい。で、T さんは
She says Venus or Venus in Kinshicho, Tokyo neighborhood is a great and inexpensive restaurant. Ueno has Veg Herb Saga, but they don't serve alcohol there. I'm not going to a place that doesn't serve alcohol. Are you kidding?
なるほど。T さんおすすめの、インディアンレストランだそうです。錦糸町と、上野にあるみたい。
No, I would definitely check those out for sure.
行ってみたいね。
There's an explosion of Indian restaurants in Tokyo, but you never know if it's a good one or not. Some of them are good and some of them are not so good. Yeah.
東京の特にインド料理出してるとこはネパールの人が作ってるからね。
Yeah. A lot of Nepalese running India/Nepal, food. And a lot of times they have pictures of the Himalayan mountains, the Himalayas.
なんか even they say Indian curry place.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you know ネパールの人ですか
Yeah,
ら
yeah, yeah. It's probably going to
Mostly.
have a different vibe, a little different
そう
vibe.
だすごい pretty hard for us to find what the real Indian
Right.
food
Right,
place.
Right, that's right. Well, we'll have to check these recommendations from Tea as soon as it's safe to go out and eat in restaurants again. Yeah.
そうだね。もう、普通にレストランで食べれるようになったら行きたいけどね。今危ないもんね。
今ちょっと怖いね、レストランとは。大体ね。I kind of don't really want to go to restaurants too much, man. They're a little dangerous, yeah.
I don't go.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, let's run that video. Let's see your most recent show with Tea at What the Dickens.
はい。そしたら、去年12月25日にやった T さんとヒロさんと一緒にやったライブをちょっとだけご覧ください。
Here comes Suyama back here on the cajon. Or here comes Jackson Suyama. This will almost sounded like a feedback. My husband Hiroshi Tokieda.
Yay! And finally you!
And somebody else should introduce me, but
Yeah, your husband.
my name is Tea, just like the beverage. This next one in original, it's called Twilight Dream. A shattered cat sprinkled fast, crimson, straight into a rushing from eyes. And now it's slowly dying, thousand years in so
right.
ご覧いただきました。前回のライブの様子でした。
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's the Dickens, all right. That's the Dickens. What the Dickens.
はい。What's the Dickens? こんな感じです。はい。
Yeah, I tell you, Hiroshi sounds great on bass, man. And that guy was really working it on the cajon. And yeah, y'all sounded really good together. It's great.
ありがとうございます。楽しかったですよ。
Yeah, yeah.
すごい楽しい。
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. We played a lot of Christmas songs, of course.
Of course. So yeah.
さあ、今日もご覧いただきありがとうございました。今日はね、東京ソングセレブレーションオンラインということで、第1回目、Tea さんとひろしさんにゲストで、お越しいただきました。で、毎月ね、第2火曜日が、東京ソングセレブレーションで、次回は、ジョニー・ベアフッツさんがゲストで来てくれます。English version, please.
Yes, this has been the first installment of the Tokyo Song Celebration series of the Daisuke Bennett-Kuroda show. And next month, second Tuesday of the month, we will have Johnny Barefoot as our special guest with his new record. And we thank you for tuning in. And we hope you'll be back next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. for a regular Bennett-Kuroda. We'll see you.
Yep. See you next week.